Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
The Miss Universe pageant has gone bankrupt. And if any of the contestants need a date, they know where to find me. But Shark, tell us about the bankruptcy and what you think about it.
Well, so there's been a lot of controversy around this. And this, I don't know if you remember, but Donald Trump used to own Miss Universe and really was sort of forced into selling it for a lot of political reasons as well. But Miss Universe has always been a different pageant than what we think of with Miss America. Miss America is really built on, they tried to rebrand themselves as a scholarship pageant. And I know it's still on somewhere, but the ratings were so bad they took it off TV, and it always sort of fell below the beauty standards that were Miss USA and also Miss Universe. So that pageant was owned by a transgender activist out of Thailand, and there's a lot of controversy that came up because one or two of the contestants, I cannot remember how many there were also transgender as well. And it became really front and center in the conversation about beauty pageants. Have there been transgender women who've changed from men to women, been in those pageants, in a lot of beauty pageants? Sure. There is the question as whether or not it could be, but this really received a lot of public outrage. And I'm sure there were probably some other issues in that person's business, but the Miss Universe has since declared bankruptcy. I'm not trying to make a political statement or whether or not you think it's right or wrong for anybody to do transgender. That's not the conversation. This is an example, though, where just like Miss America tried to rebrand, or when so many companies try to go away from their core, it changes what their core audience expects. And this is another time when it failed. Whether you agree with whether or not people born men should be able to go through that process and then be in a pageant is really immaterial. That is really a consequence of the controversy. However, the question goes back to when Miss America, for example, tries to rebrand itself as not a beauty pageant, but as a scholarship pageant. People were tuning in to see beautiful women. That's at the core of what it was. Miss America was great when they also did opera or play piano or did whatever those things were, but that wasn't bigger than what a pageant, has typically represented for the last 100 years. And I think sometimes when we don't appreciate or make it an evil thought that women can be pretty, which, I mean, who would have thought that would have been a controversial thing to say? Because I don't think it's it's gone so far an attempt to go askew with not trying to appear sexist that really it lost its appreciation for what it was, which was a beauty pageant. What are your thoughts as one other male has to say about the subject?
That's right. Well, okay, so maybe we're part of the customer base, but correct me if I'm wrong, Shark, but one of or two of the tenets of being successful in business, number one, know your customer base, know what they want, and then give them what they want. Are those, would you confirm those?
I've heard those are two that would work, yes.
So in this case, they seem to have failed epically. And I agree with everything you've said. Like, let's take whatever the political issue is and just put it on the side. Did you take your eye off the ball and try to drive an agenda or make some fear-based decision and lose focus on here are our customers and here's what they want? It seems pretty simple to me, and it seems like there are plenty of companies after company after company, along with Miss Universe, who continue to show us this mistake over and over. I'm just wondering how many companies are looking and learning.
Well, my sister was in pageants. My mother was in pageants. My mother even judged pageants. I'm sure my sister did some as well. Those were, they were looking for well-rounded, smart women that also were pretty. It wasn't that it was only this one thing and that, men were demonizing. I think to the point, you're hearing as many loud voices from women who were upset with the way the pageant was being run. And if people aren't going to tune in, and that's why it lost its core. So it just suffers from the consequences of those choices, whether you agree with them or not.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.